Oregon settled the lawsuit. That lawsuit settlement became official this week. And as part of the settlement, there's an agreement to review and remove up to 800,000 names from the voting rolls in Oregon. So I have tremendous breaking news about a federal lawsuit that Judicial Watch filed in Oregon on behalf of the Constitution Party and others over their dirty voting rolls. Oregon settled the lawsuit. That lawsuit settlement became official this week. And as part of the settlement, there's an agreement to review and remove up to 800,000 names from the voting rolls in Oregon. Now, what happened is that Judicial Watch uncovered that Oregon's voting rolls were a mess. The National Voter Registration Act requires states to take reasonable steps to clean up the voting rolls, and if they don't, groups like Judicial Watch and other aggrieved parties can sue. And sue we did. And a new Secretary of State was elected, I think, last year. He came to town. He saw, obviously, Judicial Watch's lawsuit, and he realized that Judicial Watch was right. That Oregon hasn't cleaned up its election rolls since 2017. In its complaint, Judicial Watch argued that, this is our lawsuit when I say complaint, Judicial Watch argued that Oregon's voter rolls contain large numbers of old inactive registrations and that 29 of Oregon's 36 counties removed few or no registrations as required by federal election law. Think about that. Think about all the people that move in and out of a jurisdiction in any year, and none of them get removed over years. In fact, we found that Oregon, the state, and 35 of its counties had overall registration rates exceeding 100%, and that Oregon had the highest known inactive registration rate of any state in the nation. So there are 2 points there. When you get the registration rate over 100%, it's a pretty good indication that they're not cleaning the rolls. They've got more people living there or registered to vote than there are living there. And on top of that, the inactive rate is the rate of people who quite obviously should be removed, meaning they haven't voted in years and years and years, in this case in Oregon, at least 10 years. So to the credit of the Oregon Secretary of State, a Democrat, he agreed to settle the case. We're removing the 800,000 names. We're going to confirm the removals. We're going to provide reports to Judicial Watch as required about our other steps to maintain the rolls, make sure they're cleaner. And we're going to do it for years. And if if they don't keep their promises, we can go back to court. As we say in our press release, Oregon Secretary of State Tobias Read, R-E-A-D, announced earlier this year that Oregon has about 800,000 inactive registrations. So as I meant to say earlier, is that rate is, I think it's like 20-25%. You can look up Oregon's population and run the numbers. But it's a significant portion of the state of Oregon are registered improperly. There are names there that are registered improperly that should be removed. So of the roughly 800,000 names, 160,000 or so already met criteria to be removed. They should be removed immediately, so they're gone. The remaining 640,000 inactive names are going to be removed over time. It could be a few years before they're all removed, but they're on their way out. And if we hadn't taken these steps, they'd be on forever and a day. And what's also good about this settlement, as I read it, is that the process will continue. So it's not just the 800,000 names that are going to be removed. The process is going to be fixed in a way that when dirty names arise again, because people move or die, and and they need to be removed. There's the process in place to take care of that, so it doesn't happen again, at least over the term of this settlement agreement. In its press release, caused by Judicial Watch, this admission, Oregon acknowledged that routine removal of outdated records effectively stalled in 2017. So they haven't been cleaning the rolls since 2017, leaving a large pool of long dormant registrations on the rolls without being fully processed for removal. And this is what the Secretary of State said, again, a Democrat. These directives that he issued to kind of get the ball rolling are about cleaning up old data that's no longer in use so Oregonians can be confident that our election voter records are up to date. Right on. That's the purpose of the law. That's the purpose of doing the process, to provide assurance to voters and citizens that there's going to be fewer opportunities for fraud because you have old and dead names on the rolls. As I say in our release, this is another historic election integrity success. Judicial Watch's lawsuit caused Oregon to finally clean up 800,000 outdated voter names, adding to the more than 6 million ineligible voters removed by Judicial Watch lawsuits and legal actions nationwide. Dirty voter rolls can mean dirty elections. Oregon Secretary of State Tobias Reed is to be commended for responding to our lawsuit with a massive voter roll cleanup and a commitment to continued voter list maintenance, which will only increase voter confidence. This is just a fantastic development. So we had 800,000 being removed in Oregon. We got word just 2 weeks ago that there's a total of nearly 400,000 names. I think it was 372, if I recall correctly, dirty names being removed from the rolls in Colorado. So now it's over 1 million names in just the last month or two have been added to our cleanup totals now, which are at 6 million. It's just remarkable. Justice Department hasn't gotten these numbers removed ever. I mean, they're taking some steps to examine the rolls and help states clean up the rolls. But of course, they're being sued for even doing that by the left. So Judicial Watch has been able just to be persistent, like, slow and steady wins the race. And we've been slow and steady. And aggressive, though. You can expect more litigation in California. We have ongoing litigation in Illinois. So we'll see if we can get the rolls cleaned in Illinois. And you'll be surprised because, as I said, these settlements aren't with Republicans necessarily. People think, well, you're a conservative group, it's all some sort of rat. No. New York City, we settled. You think we settled with Republicans in New York City to clean up nearly 1 million names up there? In the District of Columbia, we ended the lawsuit after they removed 138,000 names, as I recall. But there's more that needs to be done because there are upwards of 24 million outdated names on the rolls nationally. But Judicial Watch is going to keep on pushing. As I said, we've got ongoing litigation in the offing, plus other states are under investigation by our team, and I expect there will be more legal actions and lawsuits to get those other states to clean up the rolls. But this is, again, just another remarkable victory for Judicial Watch. And, it's a settlement. Now, Oregon didn't admit that they did anything wrong. That's what settlements are. But it's clear we got this 800,000 number of dirty names up for removal thanks to our litigation. And this is on top of our work to ensure that candidates have the right to sue to stop dirty elections from happening and make sure the rules are fair and honest. A Supreme Court victory just a few months ago in that regard. And we are on the cusp of another Supreme Court victory if all the analysts are right, in our lawsuit on behalf of the Libertarian Party of Mississippi to ensure that states don't violate the federal Election Day statute or statutes by counting ballots that arrive late after Election Day. And that decision from the court is due, it could be any day, but it will likely be coming out next month. So if there's anyone doing any more heavy lifting on election integrity than Judicial Watch, as I often say, I'd like to meet them. It's just great work by our team. And of course, we're only able to get this work done with your support. And it doesn't come cheap. And I can't tell you how the legions of patriot Americans who are Judicial Watch members who support us day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, make our work so much easier because we know we've got their backing, that we can move forward on these cases, and we have the resources to move forward on these cases. And there's going to be more cases. I mean, I'll talk about the gerrymandering issue in a little bit, but let's say the Supreme Court, we win in the Supreme Court over these Election Day issues. Well, there's going to be other litigation to enforce that decision. Then, of course, we've got other opportunities or requirements to sue, as in my view. We can't help but sue over voter roll cleanups. And there are other issues on our, related to election integrity, and not enough, I don't have enough detail to make any promises yet as to whether we can sue over them, but other election integrity controversies that we're looking at legally. It's just great work by Judicial Watch, and getting 800,000 names cleaned from a state the size of Oregon is just a remarkable, remarkable development. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.